People love him already. He's got the Rhode Island twang.
The long pass to Moore and a pin block from Martin.
Tune in to Cam's Corner.
He's going to make it here.
Draws the foul for another Rhode Island and one.
Podcast
His own podcast.
It's good off the backboard and in. On a break.
And we are back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Cam's Corners. Today's guest is from East Greenwich, Rhode Island, a Bishop Hendricken alum, and is currently a quarterback at the University of Pittsburgh. It's David Lynch. David, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
No, yeah, of course. And like I said earlier, I was talking to my boys, Nick and Tom Camelo, who I've had on a lot. And, of course, they went to school with you for a couple of years. They were telling me you were a baseball guy going into Hendricken. So, I mean, that just, lit up a bunch of questions that I have for you because I knew you as a basketball guy. We played basketball up against each other for probably like a year or two because I'm a little bit older than you. But so you're just your mindset athletically heading into Hendricken. Like, well, just run me through that.
Growing up, Hendricken was always a thing you heard of because coming from East Greenwich, of course, it's got a good school system. But I was fortunate. My parents sent me to Catholic school growing up, not the public school system. And, through family, my uncle was the freshman basketball coach at Hendricken. So Hendricken was kind of the way I was leaning towards. And I played baseball and basketball, never really played football till my freshman year of high school. But my mindset going in I knew how competitive it was. I knew the standards at Hendricken, and because I was prepared for my uncle and all my family. So I just going in with the mindset of you got to compete, and it really worked out. Like I said, one of the best decisions I made was going to Hendricken.
Yeah. So you played all three sports all year round at Hendricken?
Yeah. It was very busy. Freshman year I played freshman football, then JV basketball, and got brought up to varsity at the end a little bit, and then freshman baseball, and then same thing throughout my career. But baseball was cut short my sophomore year because of COVID.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong. Were you an all-stater in every single sport?
I was not. I was a 3-sport captain, though, which I don't think has been done at Hendricken.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, I didn't really pick up a baseball. Like in baseball, you got to be so active. Like you got to throw every day, like the whole year round. And I never got into it. I think when I was younger, like I was pretty good, but it caught up to me once I kind of took over with football and basketball. And yeah, I still talk to my coaches today. Like they just say, if you picked up a baseball more, maybe you'd pitch a lot more.
So you were a pitcher at Hendricken?
Yeah, I got kind of put in that PO role. They put me in when we were like bases loaded, no outs, like just in off jams, try to get them out.
What do you think of Alex Clemmy and everything he's been able to do?
Crazy. I was able to spend my junior and senior year with him. He's a great kid. Playing catch with him is tough. It's like the toughest thing ever. But no, he's a great kid. I think he's going to do amazing things. And he's got a good family. He's got a good support system, and Hendricken has his back, so he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I worked at Channel 12 over the summer, and we covered the draft at his house. We were at his house for like the reaction of him getting drafted to the Guardians, and his family, great people, all his friends were great, and we interviewed him at the end. That was really cool. So I honestly didn't really know much about him going into it because I'm not like that big on like covering baseball. But once I worked with the news, we covered him more. We learned more about ham. It was like surreal to be in that moment at that time. So
he's unreal. Just being there and watching him. It's surreal to watch. Like just 96 mile an hour consistently. Like it's really cool.
Right, and like kind of similar to that too. I know, like we mentioned, you were a 3-sport athlete. Somebody like Alex or somebody else in that realm of athletes that you kind of looked up to in a way, or that kind of helped you pave the way for your career that you kind of looked up to during your high school career? Could you name a few people if you had?
Yeah, like especially from Hendricken. Like I was just always a Hendricken guy. Like I grew up like that, like I said, and these people may not even know me, but like you look up to like guys like Chris Hindle, quarterback, basketball player, baseball player. Of course, like the basketball guys, Mazzulla's, those type of players. Like you hear as you go through the school, you just hear those stories, and you just want to kind of emulate those things and kind of keep up to that standard. And those are like the guys that like you always think about, and you always are striving to get.
Yeah, that was definitely me. I mean, playing like high school ball, I wasn't like a D1 athlete or anything, but Justin was a huge like inspiration just, growing up, and one of my coaches too for AAU for a few seasons. But yeah, like the players like David Duke and like the Cole Swiders and stuff like that. Like just
Cole
so
Swider,
much, so much talent that came out of Rhode Island that you look back at now and it's like, wow, like I got to experience that and play with those guys
Cool
like
to be
during that
around.
time.
Yeah, it's cool to be around because you get to like watching like even like Bassie, like Sebastian
Yeah.
Thomas. That was that my sophomore year. We started together, and it was incredible. I don't know if you remember like that game at CCRI against North Kingstown in the divisional right before COVID.
Yep.
I think he had like the last 15 points of the game, come like for both teams, and he took us back, and it was unbelievable. Like a player like that, it was cool.
That was your sophomore year, right? Or
yeah, my sophomore year.
Yeah,
that was Angel's senior year.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm in that class. I was a senior. We played Lincoln in D3, so we were the first game, and we stayed and watched all the games, and
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and now for me, well, last year, Bassie was at URI, and I was at UAlbany, but to be able to like broadcast like on ESPN, and two, just to be broadcasting his games and like being like playing breakers with him when we were like 10 years old, and like now to see where these guys are at, like it's insane. And I'm sure like you think that now in the position that you're in, and of course it's your first year, you got to get your feet wet a little bit more. But talking more about like the earlier stages, how did you kind of decide to stick with football again, playing all these different sports, having all the success in every sport? Like, how did football really stick?
Like, I don't know, like going later in my high school career, like you kind of get so caught up in this sports world and you never think of like the next step. Of course you're thinking about it, but I was so busy. Like basketball was in the winter, and then baseball came, and kind of having that mindset of like just trying to win, just trying to keep winning state championships and all that. I never really thought about like my future, and eventually my family and I started to think, and like my size and my just ability and my raw ability, because technically I only played the sport 4 years. It was in our best interest to stick with football, and that's when we kind of got the idea to do that post grad year at IMG, and it just paved the way.
Were any schools looking at you for any other sports? I mean, I'm sure football as well, but before IMG, what were the schools looking at you?
Yeah, basketball, a couple D3s, like in that Boston area, like Wentworth, like those types of schools. They wanted me. Baseball early, like when I was younger, like, schools could have talked to me, but football, URI was always like talking to me, but they never really pulled the trigger until after when I was at IMG. But it was kind of a slow recruitment process. And it goes kind of back to, you're from a small state and there's so many people out there. And, but any opportunity you get, you got to take it. So.
Yeah, before heading into IMG, what was your most like memorable sports moment at Hendricken? Like, there's so many again, like all throughout all three sports, all the championships. We
sit down at the dinner table and talk about this. Like, I don't know, I've been so fortunate, very, very fortunate, to be on some great teams. Like my senior year is pretty memorable. Like coming down, we were down 16 in the first quarter against Glasgow at the Ryan Center. Coming back, hitting that shot to send to overtime. That was pretty cool. I think first play of the state championship in the Super Bowl, run like 75-yard touchdown, gets called back, but then we won 49-40. I don't know, there's just so many memories that, and even like the little things, like my junior year basketball, we're playing at Barrington, and first half was awful. We ended up coming back. We have a chance to tie it at the buzzer, and I lob it up out of bounds play to Cam Hughes. I don't know if you probably know Cam.
Yep.
That's one of my good buddies. And he tips the ball in to win the game. And it kind of set our season to go the way we wanted to go. And those memories, like just you look back and you kind of miss that stuff, the basketball stuff, of course.
Yeah, because like I said, I remembered you growing up as a basketball guy. I didn't even know I didn't know baseball. Two, I knew football a little bit because of Nick and Tom, because those are my guys. Yeah. But and I was shocked to see. Again, proud too, because anyone from around that is doing like big things. It's just awesome to see. But it kind of caught me for a loop. I was like, oh my, I didn't really know that was your main sport after, because like you said, high school is when it kind of sparked. So
Yeah.
the decision to go to IMG, I mean, it's kind of like taking a chance on yourself because that was your freshman year was your first year playing football. So kind of run me through that process of, talking with your family, talking with your friends, and how that you landed on that.
So like once I got to that college options, like we were just looking at what schools realistically, like what schools did I apply to, and we were sending emails, trying to get any contact with schools like that to see if any opportunities came.
This is prep, right?
No, like at
just colleges, yeah.
Kind of walk on somewhere, get an opportunity, and eventually through a friend of a friend that coached at IMG, he said, we got this program, it's new, you should check it out. And right when we heard that, my dad started rolling. He loved it. So it kind of made the decision for me, like, if this came up with such short time of a choice, you have to make a choice in like little time. And this opportunity arises, like, you gotta have to take it. And we went down for a visit. It was awesome. Of course, like if you go to visit IMG, they're going to convince you just with their facilities and the people, and being in Florida really helps. So that decision kind of was made so quick, and it was a great decision. And I ended up going down there in July. So it was great.
Was it like intimidating at all? Like going and seeing that big of a facility at the high school level? I mean, obviously it's prep, but I'm sure a little bit.
Yeah, it's incredible. You walk in, they got state-of-the-art facilities, and I was just, my mindset was like I always wanted to like do this stuff. Like I always was in the backyard trying to dream of like doing these things and playing at that level. And when you get there, it's like surreal for a little bit, like it was here at Pitt. And then like as you start getting used to things, like you're like you can belong there, and you realize you can do it. So
yeah.
Cool.
So how was your overall experience? Just run me through that and your biggest takeaway, you think, playing prep.
Yeah, and like everyone from Rhode Island, like you talk about the prep school route, and it's so popular now just because of getting that extra year. But the thing is, like, nobody says prep school's fun. Like prep school is it's not like an enjoyable experience. You're there for another year of school so you can go to college. Like it's not fun. It's not like a good, I don't know, like it was fun. It was a great time, but you're there to get somewhere. You're not there to have like a great time. So being in those dorms and every day, like a curfew at 10 o'clock, like you're really locked in. And it was great. It was what I needed to mature and to get to that next level. And, I got to train with one of the best coaches I've ever had, Jeff Blake, who played quarterback for the Saints and 14 years in the NFL. He played at what's it called? I forget. But he played at Eastern Carolina, actually. He was a famous quarterback there, and just his whatever he told me, he kept telling me to be confident in myself. And the coaching from them, it was unbelievable. It was a great experience for football. Of course, like living there was tough. It was tough being away and being locked in, but I loved it.
Yeah, I know you mentioned like I know you don't mean it literally, like all the processes, like no one wants to do it because it's like school and extra school year, but I mean that experience is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? So how is it? Right. So how is it different? So how much different was it from like all the training you did at Hendricken and then now like this year? Like how much of a jump was it in your eyes?
I think more like weight room was a big thing for me. When I made that decision to go to IMG, it was like April-ish, May-ish. And then I went in July. I gained probably 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Just I had to. And like that was the biggest thing in the weight room. And just the schedule, like waking up at 6 o'clock, you're not going to school, you're going to practice. You get all your meetings, everything like that. And then after you do your school. And that schedule and that it helped me so much because that's what we do here at Pitt. So I think that preparation and the weight room and just the being at a higher level of football, and I don't know if but like Rhode Island's ground and pound, like you're running the ball a lot. You maybe throw 5 times, 4 times a game. One of them is going to be a screen. You're not throwing deep, like to be in that kind of offense at IMG, it was just such a transition. And it was awesome because like you play these games like Madden and all that, and that's what it is. That's what it is at this next level is these type of plays, and it's so much fun. And that's like the enjoyable part of it is just there's so much to learn and there's so much to be better at. So that's what what I got out of it.
Right. And your first moment at IMG when you realized like this isn't Hendricken, this is like the big leagues, like big leagues in the sense where you're preparing for the college level, like that first moment where you kind of realized it.
Yeah, like of course when you drop back for the first pass and it's no one's in your face and it's a nice pocket and you're at a big stadium. You know, we first game we got to play at in Mobile, Alabama, which was a troop, but it was at where the Reese's Senior Bowl is, where all the prospects in college they're playing to get to the NFL. And in that stadium, it was like it was cool, like being at that next level. And you know, it's humbling and it's a blessing to be there. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, and not having that like the same recruitment process at Hendricken, of course, as IMG. How much did IMG really prepare you for that? And like, what was that recruitment process the next year?
It's just like as I've learned and you know this in any type of business, it's all relationships.
Oh, 100%.
It's all who you know, and the people you know really drive your recruitment. And I firmly believe in that. And no knock to Hendricken or Rhode Island. It's just like there's so many people out there that know coaches and know recruitment people and know everything else. And at IMG, I was so fortunate. I got in touch with a lot of schools. Like a lot of schools were talking to me, you know, seeing what they can do, seeing what options they had. And eventually it came down to Coach Blake reaching out to his former coach, which is a great relation to have, Coach Signetti, who's my offensive coordinator here, quarterback coach. So it's all about relationships. And that's the recruitment process that at IMG is, you know, they know their people, and that's really what you go there for, is those relationships and those connections.
Yeah, and like you said, like you're playing for a former NFL quarterback. Like it doesn't get better than that, you know, and the relationships that he knows. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool for him to be able to pick up the phone. I think there was one time he called Dion.
Really?
Yeah, because he trained Shador sometimes. So he was calling Dion, and that was wild. That was crazy.
To like talk about what? Just to like talk about any like training?
Say what's up.
Yeah.
Just say what's up. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. And to like witness that like at that early of an age, like that's pretty cool. And it's kind of, I feel like that's like an eye-opening experience too. Like you're right there in front of all that.
Right. It is eye-opening because you're like, I don't know if you've realized it, but like in Rhode Island, like you're in such a bubble.
Yeah.
Not like until you realize like the level of competitiveness, the level of people that are out there. Because you just watch on TV and we were spoiled with Tom Brady and everything. Like those level of people and the competitiveness is it's crazy.
Right. And like for someone like me in that field, not like of course not an athlete, but in the sports world, Rhode Island is so everybody knows everybody in the media world. Yeah. Everyone knows everybody. So branching out and like going to like this summer, I was at Pat's practice all summer, stuff like that, being up close with Belichick and my friend Ed Lee, who he had like a mini camp also this summer. Like he introduced me to Mac Jones. Like he's introducing me to like a couple guys. Like it's like so eye-opening to be like, you know, this can't happen. Not only for me at media, but like
you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing it the right way. Would you have an intern? Where was your internship last summer?
So this past summer was 12, and then the summer before that was the Sports Hub in Boston.
Yeah, like that's sick. Like the Sports Hub, sick.
No, yeah, it was surreal, and I've been talking to some of those people just because you know I'm a senior now, so I got to get ready to like look at jobs and stuff, and you know, of course, having Joe is a huge help. But you know, you never know when the time comes and it's right. Like I'll figure out something great. So it's all about timing.
My aunt and uncle, both I think my aunt, uncle, and other uncle just went to the Holy Land with him.
Really?
They were on that trip. I think they went to Israel and everything together with Joe. So that was pretty cool to hear about. Speaking of Joe.
Nice, yeah. No, that it's cool to see where the family's been and what they're doing now. It's awesome. But
so
following your process, going along now with where you're at. So the recruitment process is over. You finally land on Pitt. You know, your first official, you know, you're a freshman now. So just what made you really decide on coming to Pitt, like overall? Like, were there any other places that you visited, or was Pitt like the main one?
You know, I talked to URI and I talked to other schools, but Pitt pulled the trigger. They gave me that opportunity, and you know, when you kind of get that opportunity, it's tough to pass up. And it was kind of quick because it was December, it happened, and I wanted to go in January. So Pitt gave me that option, and I kind of just I went where my heart was, and I knew it would be a great option because first Pitt got a little bit Rhode Island blood in it. Coach Narduzzi, his wife is from Rhode Island. He has a nephew at Hendricken, who's friends with my brother, and he's got 2 houses in Rhode Island. So like that kind of connection that I had with Coach Narduzzi and a couple other the coaches that are from Rhode Island, they've coached at URI. That was pretty cool, and that, it makes you more comfortable being away because these people know where you're from, and it's really cool. So choosing Pitt was kind of easy because of the amazing program it is. So that's really where my process went.
Right. And when did it hit you that you were going to an ACC school to play quarterback, your first official opportunity to play at the next level?
Yeah. So I don't know, like once you finally like say like I'm going there and you make the decision, and I thought I was more like getting off the plane. Like it's just surreal. Like I texted my boy, I'm like this happened. This really happened. Like all the stuff like I've been through, in my athletic journey, like it's cool. Like it's really cool to finally get to where you want to be. Yeah.
And what was your, kind of similar to that, like walking off the plane and realizing like you're here, your first, your welcome to college moment? The question I love asking all athletes and coaches, broadcasters, that first moment where it's like, I'm here.
Yeah, I think like I had like a full spring, be able to go through spring ball, which is very minimal. Camp was fun. I don't know. I feel like I hate to say it, but like I haven't had that like full moment yet. I feel like people talk about like their first
still early, still super early.
Yeah, like their first big like they get hit hard. Like I feel like you got to get that first in a game to get really that welcome to college. But no, like I think you realize like being in the locker room with some of these guys, and one thing is the next year or two, these guys are going to be in the NFL. That was more welcome to college to me. Is you're sitting next in the locker to a kid that's going to go to the league next year, the year after that, and making millions of dollars. And that's like the big thing is like the money involved here and the money involved in the business now is crazy. And that's really cool.
For sure. Yeah. And that's like the best part, to be able to be close with those guys and be able to say like I was teammates with them and learn from them too at the end of the day. But a question from Nick and Tom, I was talking to them earlier, like I said, they want to know, I want to know as well too. Just run me through like a day of training, because I'm sure like their schedules are super busy, but I'm sure yours is same. Just kind of run me through that.
So like today, we had 6 a.m. lift for like the scout team guys. So like the other guys that like the starters and stuff, they lifted after practice yesterday, but today was 6 a.m. lift. So we lift for 35 minutes, shower, taped, meetings at 7 to 7:40, 7:45 team meeting. Then another meeting after that. And then you're meeting until 9 o'clock. So 8 to 9. Then 9:05, you're on the field. 9:05 to 11-ish, 11:30-ish. You're practicing. Get back, shower, do your treatment, whatever you need to do. You eat at the facility. And then you're kind of done for the day. It's more class, get that stuff done, like study hall. It's really good because everything's in the morning. So you get it out of the way, the meetings, everything like that. As we get closer to Saturday, it'll be more relaxed. We'll get ready for the game, less impact on our body. But yeah, the school part's huge here. They check every class, make sure you're in class. And then, do stuff like this, hang out, relax.
Right. It's similar. Yeah. Similar to the question I asked you about Hendricken, like people that you've kind of looked up to. Any guys or any coaches that you've looked up to kind of in these first few weeks of being at Pitt that have inspired you?
Of course, Phil Jerkovic, who's our starting quarterback right now. From Rhode Island, you kind of watch BC. So he was at BC for 2 years, and it's cool because you're like couple months ago, 8 months ago, you were kind of like, you watched him, you didn't really know him, and now he's one of your friends, and he's a good guy. He's great. he's a great mentor. He's a great leader for us as a QB room. Taught me a lot of stuff, and he's still teaching me a lot of stuff, especially as we go through the season. But yeah, through this time, it's him. A lot of the quarterbacks, they've welcomed me with open arms in that room, and just how they operate, how they go throughout their day, their film study. It's really cool.
Yeah, and for you yourself, I know your brothers are kind of following the same route and doing playing a lot of the sports you did and having a lot of success with that too. Being, obviously far from home now, your first year. But again, still, this is only your first year, and having those moments with them, how do you see yourself as a leader and a role model to them, and how do you think they look up to you now that you're at this position that you're in now?
Yeah, so I don't know. My family's awesome. I'm the oldest of 5 boys. I'm one of 5. The next one, he goes to Elon right now. He's a freshman there. And then Dylan, who's taken the Rhode Island football world by storm. He's doing great. A lot of text messages with him, just kind of telling him what I think about, because there's nothing like having experience in those moments. And I think those texts before games, just telling them, because there's so many things coaches focus on. There's so many, in basketball, there's a million things to focus on. But I think in that moment, you got to focus on one or two. You can't be overwhelmed. So that's my biggest thing with him is just, don't be overwhelmed, do your job and that stuff. But aside from the sports world, it's just trying to call them. I got a 10-year-old brother he's the best. He's the cutest kid ever. And then a 13-year-old who's a freshman who just started. So, just trying to be around. It's tough because you're not around it that much. I don't really get to go home a lot, Hopefully I get home for Christmas for a couple of days and then maybe in the summer a little bit. But, as a leader, and you just try to make them proud. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just every day work hard so I can get to that level of what they want me to be and they can emulate me and do that stuff. So I think it's worked out well for now, and just got to keep pushing so they follow my footsteps.
For sure. And with the season, underway, first, I think 3 or 4 games concluded. Yeah. No playing time yet, but for yourself personally, your overall goals and aspirations with this experience with Pitt, just kind of run me through your mindset, like in this current state right now.
Yeah, I know, like right now, it's technically a redshirt season, so still have 4+ the games we have left of years left. But right now, just trying to help the team win. With the scout team, I get a really good amount of reps there. Great experience against a great defense. It's just being around this type of program. It's incredible. And goals that I have, you just want to help the team win. You want to be around a winning program, and I hate losing. I hate it so much. It's tough to deal with, but you got to be positive about it. You got to learn from it, and I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to bounce back this weekend, and that's just my biggest goal right now. Is I'm not looking too much into the future. I'm just trying to be present, be where I am, and just help my team.
Most definitely, and I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for you guys at Pittsburgh. I love to always talk with the athletes from Rhode Island, making names for themselves. So congratulations to you. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate you again for hopping on. I wanted to ask you. Yeah, of course, man. Anytime. But to always cap off the episodes, what'd you think of Cam's Corner, and who might you want to see in the future?
No, I thought it was great. You're doing great things for Rhode Island, for your brand. I know I've seen it all over the place, and it's so cool because I love this type of stuff, that social media stuff, interviewing, and you got the setup going like that. It's awesome, and it's great to be from Rhode Island, and you represent Rhode Island. I don't know what's the next. That's the last question.
Who might you want to see as a guest in the future?
Who see as a guest? I don't know. Because you've done Nick and Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of athletes from Rhode Island. Have you had Cam Als?
Yep. Yeah, he was one of my first episodes. Cam was one of my first ones. I just talked to Jake Picard a few weeks ago.
Yeah. The guys like Xavier Truss.
Right. Yeah, those are tough to get, but definitely want to talk to them.
Those are tough. I'm just trying to think of guys from Rhode Island that they're doing great things.
Yeah. Are you in touch with Cole Swider at all?
I can get in touch. Yeah. His
For sure, man.
his brother went to IMG with me for a little bit. I can definitely do that.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's a guy that he's been around. I saw him covered him. Like David Duke had a lot of things. I obviously want to talk to David Duke too, but he had a lot of cool charity events in the summer, and Cole was at a lot of them. We were able to, interact with Cole, and definitely be trying to get him on my radar soon. So any of those big name guys you can help me with, I'd appreciate it. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Cam's Corner.
On a break.